Hi guys! So in today's video I'm going to be talking about the various kinds of endings that you can expect to have with clients as a therapist and a counsellor. And I'm going to share some of my personal experiences so that you know what to expect. So we're going to go through that so that when you get into it you're not surprised if a client leaves like this or leaves like that. So let's get started. In no particular order, let's call this first category of clients category A. So these are the clients who may leave you abruptly. No warning, no signs that they wanted to leave or that they were going to leave. They just leave and they never come back. And they never say why. And they never hinted that they were going to leave. So that's category A. So clients who leave abruptly, this can vary from somebody who leaves after the first session and never comes back, or someone who you've been seeing for a while and they leave randomly during your few months together or few weeks together or even years together. So it doesn't mean that they just leave after the first session. They can leave at any point randomly without any warning. During my placements I've experienced a variety of these. I've had clients who come for one session and they're like, yeah, I'll see you next week, and then they never come back. Or clients who are like, after the first session and they're like, I'm not coming back. And I've had a client who had come to me for about 2 weeks and then she didn't turn up for another few weeks, so I asked the placement, like, can you find out from her if she still wants to carry on? And she took a while to get back to them and she said she didn't want to carry on. No reason why. So it can be a mix. You could see them for 2-3 weeks, you could see them for 3 months, you could see them for 2 years, and then one day, poof, they just disappear and never come back. So even if you've said goodbye, see you next week, you don't know that that's going to be their last week with you. So expect the unexpected. My current placement where I'm at, we're allowed to give clients 6 sessions, and I had a client who decided after session 4 that she didn't want to come back, and she expressed that she's like, I don't think we should carry on. So some clients might just say randomly, you know, this is our last session today, and you're like, okay, you can't make them come back, and sometimes they may explain why, sometimes they may not. And I've also had clients who randomly just don't explain why they're not coming back and would rather tell maybe the placement that they don't want to come back instead of telling me directly. So there's also that. So that's the category A, clients who just leave abruptly. Now let's move on to category B, the clients who don't come to the last session. Now this is also something I've experienced. I had a client once who knew that, you know, the following week was going to be our last session. It was something that we spoke about, you know, next week is going to be our last session, how are you feeling, da 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 da. And he had even said that he was going to bring me a gift because he wanted to say thank you for our time together. And he never came to the last session. No warning, no understanding of why, no reason. And of course, I just had to leave it at that. There was nothing I could do. And there are going to be times when clients just don't come to the last session. They don't explain why. And for some people, it might just be an abandonment thing. It might just be that they're not ready to say goodbye, and it's easier for them to not just turn up than to come and have to say goodbye to you. There could be so many reasons why a client would miss the last session, but this is something I've heard quite a lot, that there might be times when clients just don't come to the last session, especially when they know that this is going to be a last session together. They will not come even though they've said, I'll see you next week, and you've talked about the ending and you've had open conversations about how they feel about the ending. They might still just not turn up to the last session. It's not going to happen, of course, with a lot of clients, but it does happen enough that it's spoken about in the industry. But if you're able to discuss with clients maybe who have attachment issues, abandonment issues, and if you can bring that into the room and discuss, you know, is there a chance that, you know, this is going to affect our last session? Do you feel like you want to come to the last session? Do you think maybe you'd rather not come to the last session? What are you thinking? What are you feeling about our last session? Just bringing it into the room with a client and finding out where they are might be helpful as well. Not just for you, but for them as well, to understand their feelings about endings, because some clients are terrified of endings. So it might be worth exploring that if you have the room and the time to, and if you feel like your client is able to handle that conversation. Last but not least, we have category C of clients, the ones who are prepared for the ending. So these are the clients who you've talked about the ending and they're probably happy and excited to end with you, and they might even have mixed feelings. They might be a bit happy but also a bit sad that the time with you is coming to an end, but they're happy because they get to apply everything you've talked about in therapy. They get to now actually actively live without you and practice everything that they've been learning in therapy with you. So they might have mixed feelings, and I know I'm usually this this client when it comes to my therapist. Like, I'm usually having quite mixed feelings. I'm happy to be over and done with it, but I'm also sad that I'm not going to have like their presence in my life and weekly meetings, and it's like having to readjust to life without them again. These are clients that tend to be quite happy, and they tend to be very easygoing about endings. They don't have like strong attachments or feelings towards endings, and they're okay with it. Of course, there's going to be, you know, a lot of emotions around it, but they can handle endings well. And in the best way I can describe it is that it's probably going to be quite bittersweet with clients like this. Those clients are probably going to feel bittersweet as well. And, you know, they might come to the last session with a present or a gift to say thank you. They might even opt for a hug to really say just thank you for the time that you've spent together. So there are clients who also have nice, smooth, happy endings like this. And, you know, a few tears might be shed, like happy tears and, you know, just thank you tears, I guess. So for any of you who are watching, those of you who are qualified, those of you who are therapists, can you share in the comment section any other kind of weird endings or difficult endings that you've had with clients that I haven't mentioned in the video? So just to say, in all of this, you know, try and discuss endings with your clients as much as possible, and try your best to prepare them for the ending, especially if it's something that's difficult for them. Bring up the conversation about the last session a few weeks prior, or depending on how long you've had together, maybe a few months prior, and just discuss it so that at least the ending can be as smooth as possible for you and the client. But all I can say is don't take it personally when a client leaves, even if it is your fault that they left. If they haven't expressed that to you, that it was something you did or said, don't try and dwell on it, and don't blame yourself if they abruptly left without an explanation. Don't now think about blaming yourself. You can reflect on it in supervision as to the possibility and just managing yourself better and managing your feelings around that ending, but try not to take it personally. So I wish you all the best, and have a good day or a good night wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.